the ability to kind of swap around between both. But I like the idea of having not just the Blastus, but the Scythe to kind of put a bit of a gut check into Macheeete, because when Macheeete is popping off, it is something to be feared. If you marked off at any point you think that either one of these two players gets top 8, you're correct. They're going to get there. But they do have some history, Duke, and we've... All right, here comes the inevitable doom for whoever's on the winning side of these things. But Macheeete and Neeze have fought each other 11 times overall in official games and in unofficial, and it's been 6-5, just ever so slightly in Neeze's, in Macheete's favor. So you know it could go either way.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a whole different Macheeete, right? This is Macheeete on the Tesca, something that Neeze has not played against in competitive Brawlhalla just yet, because this is the first legal tournament for Tesca in official esports right now. Macheeete getting some good damage built up, but Neeze trying to play that range game, knows the boots have to get stacked up. They have to get on top of you in order to get that big damage done.
Exactly why those blasters are working so well right now, and the Scythe 2 just kind of at the ledge, but he keeps boxing him out, goes for a weapon toss down. Do we get a closeout on the ledge? No, not really worth, and that you always have to respect. There's some surprisingly quick startup on the gauntlet signatures from Tesca as well, so you have to be very careful when you're trying to just rush up on them.
But the side air's not quite enough. Neeze gonna be looking for that recovery. It's so good on a map like Small Brawlhaven. Downlight into recovery can KO so quickly, but he's not finding that KO hit.
The end lights from Macheeete also missing as well. Meanwhile, Neeze is trying to catch him like any given situation. Recovery definitely will finally take it, though. Did take a lot of damage, so it's Scythe now, so you can get a good amount out of this, but you have to be very careful because Macheeete has also had some good defense prior to that moment.
Yeah, a good dodge read, and Neeze can get some extension on this, get that damage built up, and make sure that he's got a lead going into the second stocks. But Macheeete, he's trying to play that spacing game, but he's only getting those taps. He's not getting the big hit, you know, that side light, no active input on the boots, but it's going to be the neutral light for the gauntlets that does eventually KO.
Yeah, the first one not getting the job done, so he kind of weapon tossed immediately away, like, okay, I'm not really feeling this right now, but they still got the job done after. Macheeete having a bit of a hard time lining up some big combo strings. Never mind, gets a 2-piece, waits for him to come back on. I really like how Macheeete is almost like always going off stage. He doesn't really look like he has a lot of fear in his pressure. He's continuously trying to push. A big reason why he's, of course, sitting here in winner's side. He 3-0'd Defi just before this. And it's just been looking so clean so far. Like you said, this is the first official time anybody's been able to actually line up against this matchup so far.
Bro, Macheeete refuses to use the active input of the side air on those boots. He's been going in and getting that higher variable force move, but on early health, it's so good to go for that active input, chase alongside, keep that pressure going, but instead, Macheeete just trying to get that neutral reset every time that he can, but Neeze has the stage control, doesn't hit the downlight.
I think you're very on the money with that, too. I keep waiting for when Macheeete is going to go for that Sarah all the way off stage, too, as well. Just go for that really deep edge guard, but it's kind of been more comfortable with stage control at the moment. There we go, though. That should go ahead and get the job done, and that puts Macheeete up in the lead.
Yeah, that's the situation where you want to go for that raw, regular side air. But now that it's a fresh stock on Neeze, I want to see that active input, want to see that chase. There it is, but he doesn't get the follow-up.
Now weapon toss is going to go ahead and line him up, trying to go all the way out there to find a recovery. Macheeete is going to get back on, doesn't even need the wall touch, just goes right up and over. And now he has a moment where he can keep this weapon starve up. I like the end lights right on top of it, and Neeze does eventually find it, but it took a bit.
Yeah, just trying to put some hitboxes on top of that weapon spawn. Macheeete, again, getting these taps on, gets a nice neutral height, but not finding the reads that he wants. And this time, not going to go for the active input. He just goes for the side air. This time, side light can't get the follow-up.
Looking for recovery, gets a recover reversal on himself, but the Sair does come through. Neeze has taken a bit of damage, is in the orange, but it's not too bad in the face of Scythe. Like you said before, the Nyx has been working very well. So if I'm Macheeete, I'm not feeling too comfortable with this lead I have.
Good dodge out from Macheeete. I mean, Macheete's definitely has a scythe of his own. We've seen him play the Mordex. We've seen him play the Enchantress. He's got such a large character pool at this point, so he definitely knows mix up those dodges, but that's a punish from Neeze. Fortunately, not much else hits as the NSIG connects for Macheeete.
Fantastic snatch right there, and Macheeete looking, trying to catch a Nair, but not really going to be able to line it up, though. The Sair putting him off stage. Is he going to be able to close it out? No, just kind of backing off. He's been pretty committed to using the gauntlets as the way to close out any of these stocks.
Yeah, it's interesting because if he wants vertical KO tools, then the gauntlets are going to be a little bit better for it. If he wants the horizontal KO tool, I gotta say the side air might be better for it on the boots. It's just kind of dependent on what he has in that situation, but he's not getting that downlight to set up for the side air, and Neeze is finding hits.
And Neeze has a big opportunity right now. Just catches him. Yes, he does, and that's going to give Neeze the first game. Definitely, again, even with that lead that Macheeete had going into that last stock, it's not the most comfortable situation to know that you're definitely going to close it out. Look at the damage between you two. 623 to 647, just ever so slightly off between them, but that was as close as you can ask for game one.
Yeah, the one thing that I got to be critical of for Macheeete is like he's having to put out a lot of damage. This is small Brawlhalla. He's got boots, one of those weapons that has a lot of potential to get some quick KOs, and he's just not getting any of that, which to a degree can be a testament to the defensive movement of Neeze.
I think also part of it too is that this is that first event, so you're still, even though you had some time to warm up with them, this is the first time you've been sitting here in the final 3 position, and you might be second guessing some of your approaches. You might not want to go for that early edge guard, but I'm on the same page as you. I feel like he needs to go for that active input more, guarantee the damage, keep pushing him towards the ledge, because that's going to prevent Neeze from being able to space properly with those blasters and get something started.
I am liking what I'm seeing from Macheeete here in game number 2, though. He's going for a little bit of a different option. You saw a lot of side airs in game 1. Game 2, he's going for this nair into a side air pickup. It's going to be the recovery from underneath as Neeze bet big with that GC down sig, and Macheeete gets the punish.
I always respect the attempt on it, because if it hits, you look like an absolute genius, but it is also going to be the best of the best who make sure you don't get away with that for, at all. And Macheeete does get the lead on it. Here's Macheeete for the first time, kind of going out there, goes for recovery instead, just to try and cover the high path, but doesn't find the mark.
Yeah, it's an interesting option. Like, Boots recovery is great for chasing, great for just kind of maintaining pressure, but it's not really going to be an often KO tool, and it's not really something that you're usually looking for on that high movement. Usually you want like a GCN sig. Punish opportunity. No dodge for Neeze still, but Macheeete can't hit the ground pound. Neeze with the turnaround.
That was so close, too. That was just ever so slightly misspaced. That would have been amazing for him, but very similar to that last game, has a good lead. You were talking about his, he was putting on damage, but it took a lot of interactions. I feel like he's getting a lot more reward on hit this time around, and he's kind of warmed up to it. And you are not just, you have to avoid that, but you're at recovery ranges, too, if you're Neeze. So Neeze getting very scared about how he needs to get in on Macheeete.
Yeah, I absolutely agree that Macheeete is getting way more momentum. He's getting way more off of each individual hit right now. But Neeze, again, in this pressure situation, worked really well for him at the end of the last one, but it's a downlight ground pound. Oh, the turnarounds again.
Sorry, he almost got scythed. That was it was very close to getting scythed, and that was about to be an even game. But for Neeze, kind of struggling to get down now all of a sudden, which is, you got to take that where you can. If you're Macheeete, you're now getting way better vertical strings. Even though the nairs haven't been really connecting, the recoveries from Boots have been landing a lot.
He's definitely getting a lot of this vertical now against Neeze. Recovery not going to connect this time. Tries to chase.
I like it. The end light, try to see if you can bait out a dodge or something and get the bigger punish, but still, this opportunity for Neeze. The Sarah misses. Recovery won't lead to much else, but the second one will, as he does not back off and gets himself to one apiece.
Neeze is so good at walling out Macheeete. Again, Neeze has this range advantage, and he's playing it so well when Macheeete is floating out in the airspace, but side sig, not quite enough. I like that he goes for the forward throw there.
Yeah, definitely expected that was going to be a KO in my view, just with how far it was on the right. But that, like you said, the active input, being able to change which direction you go. You have to be very careful about even being on the opposing side of him too. That might not, well, actually, it's not going to be enough yet. But now we have gauntlets in hand. One straight recovery will definitely do it.
But it's a question of if Macheeete can get it. He had the damage advantage at the end of game number 1, but Neeze managed to steal away the stock, downlight, side air, and yes, Macheeete takes game number 2.
Excellent job from Macheeete, kind of making a lot of adjustments going into that. I felt like he felt way more comfortable that game with the boots. Yeah. We saw a lot of constant weapon tosses away in game 1. Like, he was second-guessing everything he wanted to do with either the gauntlets or the boots. He, like you said, there was no active inputs. Pretty much used that all in any, whether it be the side lights or it be the side air. And he decided that game, you know what, maybe let's go for it. Why not? And it worked out very well.
Yeah, and it looks like it's forced Neeze off of the Nyx over to the Koji this time. Going to have no carryover in weapons, but it's not too weird. We've seen Neeze on the Koji, and of course it'll have that bow that we saw on his Diana earlier today.
Yeah, bow has just been phenomenal, as we've seen not just through this top 8, but the other top 8s as well. Meanwhile, Macheeete taking a little bit of a guided torch to the top of Brawlhalla. Are we going to keep it going? Gets the end lights. He doesn't really have a lot of opportunities to get back. He get recovered, nared, took so much damage just trying to get down.
And Neeze is yet to finally pick up a weapon, but Macheeete has put out so so much damage, showing him all over the map. So showed him the top, showed him the left side, just needs to give him a little tour of the right side, and Macheeete going to help him find his way over there.
A nice real estate agent. Just shows you all of it, but doesn't show you the really broken part in the back. The right side, there's like, look, you don't need to see that. It's okay. Now the property value is this. No. We really don't need to go over there. But Neeze is just doing everything he can. The Endlights are not finding his mark. That would have been a stock. Good last second fadeaway.
Yeah, good movement from Neeze to get out of that, but unfortunately not in position to punish. There's the side air from Macheeete. He gets his pick of weapons. Likely going to be the boots. Yep. And he's going to delay that weapon spawn by throwing those gauntlets high in the sky. I
like these falling theirs. He's now starting to find. You can get that into a confirmed snare. Just get that quick damage in. And if I definitely feels like he is way more comfortable with his neutral now. I felt like he was second-guessing it so much game one. And now he's going to go for it maybe. Doesn't decide to keep going for it. But at that point, now Neeze is going to start getting really afraid. Like, I feel like everything Macheete's doing is putting in so much fear to Neeze.
Yeah, just that little spice of going for the active input Sair into a GC side light. He's gone for a lot of those side lights, but he's not really finding the follow-up that he wants. Like, he'll go for the side light, and then you'll see him kind of dodge backwards, kind of jump away, but he's not finding anything afterwards.
Yeah, I've kind of been waiting for, like, the upwards version into, like, a dodge read or something. But he has, maybe he's just saving it for his back pocket later. But Neeze does finally strike back. There's been multiple times where Neeze has been far behind on a stock and then almost just snatched this one away. Granted, that was with the Scythe before. You still have some explosive factors, but I don't know if we'll see that same play here with the Koji.
If it's going to happen, it'll likely have to happen in the offstage as Neeze starting to find some safe damage, but Macheeete just needs a couple more hits and he can get this stock off of Neeze. There's a burn dodge, but Sidelight gets beaten out by the neutral light from Neeze.
That took a good while before Macheeete was able to finally get a hit in, too. Neeze was getting a lot of stray hits, like you said. They were starting to rack up. Did get him to at least light orange, but what else can he do? A goal, that's a big opportunity, but gets away. Sends it back down, tries to go for the ground pound, and now they're in a war. I like the fact that Macheeete was the first one. It's like, look, I don't want to lose this lead I have right now. I go for that one play, ground pound miss, let's get out of here.
Yeah. The second that he didn't see that ground pound connecting again, he's like, all right, we'll reset back to neutral. I definitely have confidence in my ability to win it. But Neeze gets the three-piece into the recovery, not quite enough, as Macheeete with a wake-up recovery, trying to stay very high above Neeze.
Neeze has been minimizing a lot of the damage. That recovery will just do it. So Neeze is waking up exactly where you needed to the most here towards the end between that last stock up to this point. So all of a sudden we have this is a very crucial game here in game number 3.
All right, Boots back on the feet of Macheeete, but Neeze, he has been finding that safe damage, perfect positioning around that neutral light, makes sure that he can get a little bit of extra damage there.
There we go. Surge put him back off, trying to catch him, but does not get it. And Neeze is just going straight back to center. Well, this set is just playing out exactly how the records have played. These two have had even just perfectly close sets. I think it was only separated by 2 individual games. So this is definitely another one. We looked at a couple of this yesterday that has that feel of going to a game 5.
Yeah, definitely 2 very evenly matched players. Neeze with the Koji goes for the tatami mat, not going to find the hit though, and Macheeete gets the read that he wants, but not going to be a KO move off that down sig.
Lights will do it. That's going to go ahead and take it out and put Macheeete up in the lead, but Macheeete, after a very hot start in that game, started to have to play back a little bit. Yeah, you talked about that 4-piece string that Neeze was able to get off of, I think it was the second stock, and then it just kept continuing. I think Macheeete only won 1 out of a solid 7 interactions in a row. That'll make you second guess a lot, but he was able to kind of just bring it back down. You can see the amount of damage, 526 done on the boots. That was phenomenal by Macheeete to kind of bring it back together towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, really well done, and you're seeing like a lot of damage being built up on the boots, and it's kind of interesting just like how aggressively boots heavy he is. Like, I'm curious as more legends get released with the boots kit if he's going to be like, all right, I want boots, but I don't really want these gauntlets, because he hasn't done much with the gauntlets, thrown out a bunch of end sigs, side sigs, but other than that, not much. Got an end light to KO twice. That's it.
Yeah, I love the boots, to be honest. I am just such a fan of the design, the way that they work, and I can't wait to see what other weapon combinations we get in the future with them for sure. This one, of course, being very straightforward with the gauntlets and boots, but they just have so much potential. And also, we're going to take another trip off of a character swap. This is actually kind of blowing my mind. We've seen so much Lin Fei this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sparky was the one who mentioned that, like, a lot of people are saying that the Lin Fei might be the meta, that this might be the Qatar tournament, and that Cannon's looking good as well. High dex definitely looking real nice, that 9 dex on Qatars, but at the same time, I don't know how well Neeze can do it, because right now he is just taking the damage, but Nice chase up.
Yeah, that was definitely a showcase of how to combo cannon a second ago. Like, oh, a big attempt on the ground pound. Neeze has gone for those quite a few times. Like, I'll go for the big play. I do not mind. But these Katars, ever since they came out, you mentioned it before, this Qatar tournament, that's exactly how this game became even.
Oh, but the side sig from Macheeete whips Neeze off the map, and he's going to go back to the boots.
I love that sig. I know that I'm maybe in a party of one on that.
Dude, it's satisfying.
It's so satisfying. You get the recovery though, and two Nears on his way back. It's like, look, I don't care about your edge guard. I'm fighting right back.
Definitely knows that there wasn't like a lot of force on it because Neeze coming in with a fresh stock isn't going to get launched very far by that recovery. So he's like, all right, well, I have to keep this pressure going. He chase dodge up with the nair, goes for a second nair, just trying to keep Neeze in that hit stun, but Neeze did manage to even up this stock count.
Yeah, I definitely think the Katars are the play here in this game. So far, Cannon has existed on the screen as a nice, like a, I don't know, a little Christmas decoration at this point. It's there. It's there for show. You see it. It exists, but it hasn't done anything yet. So Neeze, however, has done plenty with the Katars as you get 4 straight.
Yeah, he had the ornamental cannon, but really it's the lights from the Katars that are lighting up Macheeete, and it's going to be the end sig that takes him out, and this is what we're talking about. Neeze on the Katars. He's getting so much more damage. He's looking so good.
Just keep it. This is the one weapon fiasco right now. There's no reason to switch off. Meanwhile, Macheeete has swapped between both a ton. Primarily, it's mostly just to see that right there from the gauntlets to get the job done. And we mentioned earlier how gauntlets usually are the vertical option, but he's actually making sure that he gets those landed pretty often to get that horizontal play as well.
Yeah, even mentioned that active input. Unfortunately, can't do much more off that nair at the top of the map. That's one thing that's nice if you're playing against Boots right now is like, they can go for as much vertical as they want, but they don't have a sig that launches up off of the Boots gravity cancels.
Yeah, that's you get scared for a bit taking that trip up, but it's not gonna finish it out. However, that Sarah will line up a good position. Nice recovery high. Sweat beats came down, but doesn't get much. However, he keeps looking for that same dodge in place read. Hasn't been able to find it yet. I'm curious to see what he's gonna do as a swap up after that, and that's a conversation we won't have right now because we are instead gonna see Macheeete finish here at 3-1 and guarantee that not only he gets a trip to top 3, but we get to see Tezca guaranteed in a top 2 finish.
Yeah, a guaranteed top 2 finish coming out from Macheeete. The Tezca looking so good. Basically all about those boots. The gauntlets, again, coming in. He's utilizing those side signatures to get those KOs. But other than that, it's basically just been the boot show. That entire last stock against Neeze, basically all boots.
It was phenomenal. Honestly, it started off kind of slow where we were second guessing like some of the choices. Like you're not going for active input pretty much at all. The end lights were hitting. Those were finding their mark, but there weren't